Hi guys, so let's now consider 16 to 20 on the 2011 paper 1 multiple choice. Okay, so number 16, an economy is currently in equilibrium at point X. So we can see point X on the ADAS diagram. Government expenditure has increased. That would boost aggregate demand. So we're now at point B on retraining programs for those out of work. That would help shift the aggregate supply curve of the industry. So this raises the productivity of the trainees, which point shows the equilibrium in the economy, so therefore it would obviously be point C. Okay, nice straightforward one there. Okay, let's move it on. Number 17. So in an economy, average labour earnings increase by 5%, while labour productivity increases by 3%. Let's just move that a little bit closer. So what must increase direct result of these changes? Well, remember that labour earnings increasing by 5% while labour productivity increases by 3% is we can expect the labour cost per unit of output to increase. This would happen before any increase in inflation. Why is that the case? Well, it's the case because of the theory of marginal revenue product, and therefore if your workers are more productive, which it highlights the fact that they are, then labour earnings can be expected to increase. And of course, if you have an improvement in productivity where you've got the wage and the level of employment here, then you'd have your MRP curve, your first one, and then you'd have a shift outwards in the marginal revenue product curve. Okay, so the demand curve for labour would shift to the right because labour is more productive and therefore earnings would improve. Okay, number 18, so another labour economics question. The diagram shows the average and marginal revenue product of labour curves of a profit maximising monopsonist. Okay, so as a monopsonist, this is sole buyer of labour, of course, together with its supply of labour and marginal cost of labour curve. There is a big distractor in here, though, and we can see that under the ARP curve, the average revenue product. Okay, remember, when we're determining output levels, we need to make sure that we actually use the MRP curve. Okay, so how many workers will the firm employ following the introduction of the minimum wage equal to OW? So OW is now the minimum wage. Okay, and so in effect what happens is that the supply curve of labour in effect kinks as a result of this. So we reach this point here, and from there these labourers, they have higher reservation wages, i.e. the minimum wage at which they're prepared to actually work. So therefore, they will only accept wages above that OW level. But what we can remember is also happening along this level is that the marginal cost, the supply is perfectly elastic, and that will mean the supply equals the marginal cost, because hiring each additional labourer doesn't cost any more at this point. So in effect, the marginal cost of labour will kink at this point and will deviate, will suddenly increase as these workers have higher reservation wages, meaning that you'd have to pay more for each additional wage, each additional labourer. So therefore, what we can determine where MC equals MR will now be at point OH, and so that will be the point at which marginal cost now equals marginal revenue, and so our answer would be B. Okay. Now, number 19, the amounts that retired workers are allowed to earn each week without losing any of their pension is increased. This leads to an increase in the number of pensioners in employment. What will be the most likely effect on GDP per head and on the net welfare of pensioners? Okay, so if people are in their retirement and are actually incentivized to work because they won't lose out on any of their current pension provision, it's likely to, of course, increase GDP per head because some pensioners may decide to actually work more. The net welfare of pensioners can also be expected to actually rise because they now have a choice between working more and not working more, but they certainly won't be penalised for working more. So it helps incentivise them in essence. Okay, so now let's have a look at number 20. And the average propensity to consume in a country is 0.75 and the marginal propensity to consume is 0.8. What is the value of the multiplier? Well, the multiplier equals 1 over 1 minus MPC. So in essence, all we've got to do here is 1 over 1 minus the marginal propensity to consume, which is 0.8. And therefore we can see that what we're left with equals 1 over 0.2 equals 5. So there it is. Okay, so there's a big distractor here. If you've been fooled by this, you don't need this in calculating the multiplier, okay? So that is just a distractor. The answer is, inevitably D there. Okay, all right, guys, thanks a lot.